Hello, good evening. This is UTV Live.
Tonight at 6, potholes and public sector pay. More funding announced, but questions around money to the Enniskillen bypass amidst ongoing A5 legal challenge.
Also ahead, leading arthritis charity warns health system is beyond breaking point as patients living in pain call for more support.
It feels like we're just at base camp and we've still to climb Everest. And I'm a patient at base camp and I'm looking up thinking, will I ever get to the top?
We're out on the farm looking at how they're dealing with one of the wettest Januaries here on record.
Plus the rest of the day's news, weather and sport, including...
It's a hard night for Ireland in Paris as France look to go on and retain their Six Nations title.
There is anger that money set aside for a bypass in Enniskillen has been handed back by the Department for Infrastructure. However, the Infrastructure Minister, Liz Kimmins, insists the scheme will go ahead, but she has to be mindful of what can be achieved until the outcome of the A5 appeal.
Nearly £55 million has been reallocated among departments with money set aside for potholes and pay. Here's our economics correspondent, Jordan Moats.
They've been causing chaos on the roads for weeks. Potholes have left a path of destruction across the network here. Nearly 50,000 defects have been recorded in the last 3 months alone. Now, as part of an allocation of funding at Stormont, nearly £8 million will go towards fixing them.
The roads have deteriorated significantly, particularly in recent weeks. We've seen severe weather conditions with the very cold snap and also the very significant rainfall. I think we have the highest rainfall on record for the month of January. So that has undoubtedly had a very negative impact on our roads, and we've seen that in recent weeks.
In total, around £55 million has been distributed by the Finance Minister around departments. £25 million will go towards pay costs for health service workers and teachers. Infrastructure will get £17 million, including the pothole funding to invest in transport and road projects. £6.5 million will be allocated to helping people with disabilities adapt their homes, and education will get over £6 million too for capital pressures. But as part of this process, some money which was earmarked for specific projects has been handed back by departments who were unable to spend it. The F4 bypass in Enniskillen is one example. More than £6 million was returned from the Department of Infrastructure.
We have fought time and time again for this infrastructure project to get the green light, and now it's not even on amber, it's on red. Now we're seeing key infrastructure projects, not just here in Enniskillen, but right across Northern Ireland, being paused as a result of, because they are waiting to find out what the appeal will come about in terms of the A5 court judgment. We have essentially locked up infrastructure here, and we need a key to get it unlocked, and that is dealing with the climate change legislation.
The bypass there has been talked about for more than 40 years. Bottlenecks and traffic jams are common. The case for a relief road isn't a hard one to argue. There is an executive commitment for this project, meaning the funding will be reallocated in future years so it isn't completely lost.
In light of the A5 ruling, this is having a major impact on all our major schemes, and that I have had to carefully consider the impact of that. So that has had an effect right across the board, and this is another example of that. But this scheme will happen and will go ahead, but we have to be mindful of what we can deliver until the outcome of the appeal.
This is likely to be the last tranche of money to be given to departments before the end of the financial year in just a few weeks' time. It's very much up to ministers now to balance their books with what they have left. Jordan Moats, UTV Live.
An arthritis charity is warning that Northern Ireland's health system is beyond breaking point.
That is because a new report has revealed more than 500,000 people are now living with arthritis or musculoskeletal conditions, facing chronic pain and record waiting times. Katie Andrews has this report.
Living with chronic pain on a daily basis affects me physically, mentally, socially. It affects my relationship with my husband, my family, my friends, and it affects my capacity to work.
Mary Anderson lives with osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia and spinal stenosis.
Well, this is just some of my medication.
This is just a handful of some of the medication she has to take to feel normal. Mary is one of more than 500,000 people in Northern Ireland living with arthritis or another musculoskeletal condition. Despite years of pain, Mary says long hospital waiting lists left her with little choice but to go privately just to get the care she needed.
I've been on a number of waiting lists. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in 2015, so they did a lot of MRIs and scans, and that showed problems with a right hip, a left ankle, and then laterally a right shoulder, which has been quite badly damaged. And last year now my hands have been very badly damaged. So I was on the waiting list for the hip 3.5 years. My brother and late sister-in-law paid privately because the bone-on-bone pain was just, I literally could not function.
Just last week, Health Minister Mike Nesbitt said that very real progress was being made in terms of tackling Northern Ireland's very long waiting lists, which remain the worst in the UK. But campaigners say people with conditions like Mary's are still being missed. Arthritis UK Northern Ireland warns some patients wait up to 8 years to see a rheumatologist.
550,000 people living with arthritis and musculoskeletal conditions. They cannot be ignored. The scale is just too big. We need a strategic approach to tackling MSK conditions within our health system.
The charity launched a stark report at Stormont this week warning the system is now beyond breaking point. The report draws on evidence from clinicians and patients and calls for key reforms, including faster treatment and better support for patients while they wait.
I really do applaud the efforts that have been made to address the waiting list, but it feels like we're just at base camp and we've still to climb Everest. And I'm a patient at base camp and I'm looking up thinking, will I ever get to the top?
Behind the numbers are people like Mary, still waiting in pain. For them, reform can't come soon enough. Katie Andrews, UTV Live.
The Irish President has completed her 3-day official visit to Northern Ireland.
Catherine Connolly's final engagement was in Londonderry this morning to meet cross-community and cross-border youth groups. Our North West correspondent Gareth Wilkinson was there.
Catherine Connolly spent 2 days of her 3-day trip to Northern Ireland in Derry. Here she said to listen and to learn. She had already heard from DUP MP Gregory Campbell. Their interactions overshadowed yesterday's engagements. Today, conversations were less contentious. As Catherine Connolly met youth groups and community workers at a peace and reconciliation centre.
She wanted to engage with young people, but she also wanted to engage with the community workers who are doing great work in the city to try and build positive relationships from people from diverse backgrounds as well.
No speech from the Irish President today. Invited guests did most of the talking.
I was very delighted to meet the President. I like how she listens to us. Not only does she talk to us, but she also listens to us.
Incredible to meet her. She was lovely and she really listened to everything that we had to say, just about outreach in general, and really just took in anything that we had to offer.
It's like the first time I've met a world leader, obviously. It's very special.
Catherine Connolly left having fulfilled a pledge to make Northern Ireland the destination of her first official visit as Irish President. Gareth Wilkinson, UTV Live, Derry.
22 more sets of human remains have been recovered from the site of the former mother and baby home in Tuam in County Galway. So far, 33 remains of infants have all been recovered, all of which were buried in coffins. Experts carrying out the excavations are now undertaking a forensic analysis of the remains.
Belfast is set to lose its largest outdoor concert venue. Boucher Road playing fields are set to return to sports pitches. In recent years, gigs by the likes of Bruce Springsteen and Snow Patrol have been held on the land. The decision is set to be ratified at a Belfast City Council meeting next week.
The housing executive is to increase its rents by almost 5%, an average weekly increase of around £4. Meanwhile, it's been announced that the average house price in Northern Ireland in January rose by almost 6% compared to last year. According to the latest Halifax figures, the average price is now £217,000. That's still lower than the UK average, which has now risen to over £300,000 for the first time today.
In UTV's podcast, Going the Extra Mile, Carol Jordan is joined this week by lottery winners Peter Lavery and Johnny Johnston.
Yes, despite winning millions of pounds, they say that the money hasn't changed them, but has given them more means to help others.
So many million people 4 times a week play the lottery to try and change their lives, and that's why they do it. And it's changed my life. It can't change as a person, but it gives you the ability to be able to do things and hopefully help other people out. And I wouldn't turn the clock back for it, but it was good. It's been amazing, and I've enjoyed it, every second of it.
Now, you've probably noticed already, but it's been a bit of a wet and miserable start to 26, hasn't it? Northern Ireland has recorded its wettest January in nearly 150 years. And it was another rainy day today with a yellow weather warning in place until midnight.
We've been to meet one County Armagh farmer dealing with flooded fields and lost crops who's hoping for brighter months to come. Eden Wilson has been out and about in the rain.
I think the weather's woeful. I'm absolutely sick of it.
Glorious. Couldn't ask for anything else.
Boring and terrible.
If it feels like this year has been the wettest you can remember, it's because it is. The Armagh Observatory recorded nearly twice the average monthly rainfall, the wettest January in 149 years. Climate change is partly to blame, but it's not the whole picture.
So in the jet stream, it is pushing and funneling a lot of these low pressure systems and fronts towards us in the UK and Ireland. And what that means is that we have this kind of persistent, repeated wet conditions, of course. So that has tremendous consequences. We think about our natural systems and absorbing all that water. It is absolutely historic.
Here's one field in Loughgall that's seen its fair share of rain. For farmers, the wet weather is starting to create costs. Does this cost you money down the line then? Because you're going to have to potentially reseed this field?
Every now and again this will need reseeded, and then it's hard, is it worthwhile, because we'll get heavy rainfall again and spoil it. But normally if it only lasted a week that would be okay, but whenever it's so prolonged it spoils the goodness of the grass.
David's fields are crucial to his business. Most of the year he's growing potatoes and apples. In the down months it's cattle and sheep. So much of your job is forward planning, and you're always working to a tight schedule before the weather turns?
Yeah. If you know the weather's going to change, you try to get your jobs done before that. Even in the orchards, where the pruners come out, they're through into the middle of the lines to chop, and that all needs done. So there's going to be a big catch-up come, there's going to be whenever the ground does dry, there's going to be an awful lot there's going to be a backlog of tractor work to do whenever it does eventually dry.
Waterlogged and backlogged. Farmers are relying on the weather to dry up soon. Eden Wilson, UTV Live.
Still to come. Ireland suffer a French lesson in Rugby Six Nations, but head coach Andy Farrell says they'll bounce back against Italy.
He's nearly 90 years old and still going strong. The Brashean businessman who's celebrating a remarkable 70 years in business.
And will we finally see a break in this heavy rainfall? Well, I'll have all the details coming up later in the programme.
Before that, it's time to look at the headlines making tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Yes, with all the details, here's Charlene White.
Coming up, the sentencing of a summer camp leader who sexually abused young boys after lacing sweets with tranquilising drugs. Sir Elton John describes alleged invasion into his and his son's medical information at the High Court hacking trial. And ahead of the opening ceremonies to the Winter Olympics, we speak to British hopefuls in Italy. So do join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Thanks, Charlene. Now, Ireland began their Six Nations campaign last night, but it wasn't the start they were hoping for.
With news of that and the rest of the sport, here's Will.
Ready for the road. John Mulholland Motors proudly sponsors UTV Sports Updates.
Good evening. Ireland were humbled by France in their Six Nations opener last night as they were shut out in the first half and eventually beaten by 34 points to 14 at the Stade de France. Our sports correspondent Ruth Gorman reports from Paris.
It was the first dance of this year's Six Nations under the lights in Paris, and it didn't take long for the French flair to sparkle. Wave after wave they came in attack. Try after try followed. France found themselves 22-0 up at the break. The half-time light show was as impressive as France's first half performance, but sparks were also flying in the Ireland dressing room. After the restart, it was time for changes. Andy Farrell sent his instructions for the bench to start piling on. That's when Nick Timoney finally got Ireland off the mark.
And it's going to be a try!
And they added another before the French got the final say. Farrell was shocked at his side's lack of intent in the first half and vowed to ask hard questions of his players.
We have to be honest with each other and say it as it is. We're all to work on next week and make sure that this stands for something, and we need to use it not just individually but obviously collectively to make sure that we give a better showing of ourselves throughout the rest of this competition.
French captain Antoine Dupont was also surprised at how the game panned out.
When we had the 29-0, it was pretty surprising for us. It's always a tough game when we play against Ireland, but they kick a lot, and I think we've done a very good game on the high ball area, and maybe that's why the score was 29-0. But I think we started the game very well, and we kept this dynamic during almost 80 minutes.
While disappointed with the result, Jacob Stockdale was pleased to be back.
Yeah, it was super. It was really nice to have the support from back home, and it was pretty well documented that I haven't played a Six Nations game since 2021. So to be able to get back on the pitch was really special for me. For me as a player and a person, I've grown a lot in terms of resilience, and kind of had to over the last couple of years, and I think that stood to me, particularly tonight. I think that's probably a game in the past where I maybe would have shied away in the second half and not really kind of attacked it as much, whereas tonight I felt like I was able to do that a lot more.
So Ireland surprised themselves, France and the fans tonight. They must improve quickly if they're to stay in this tournament, with a daunting trip to England coming up in 2 weeks' time. Next up, they'll welcome Italy to Dublin next Saturday. Ruth Gorman, UTV Live, Paris.
Well, the sixth round of the Irish Cup gets underway this evening, with Championship leaders Limavady United hoping to cause an upset when they entertain Premiership champions Linfield at the Coleraine Showgrounds.
To be honest, all week the excitement's starting to build, so everybody at the club, just players, staff and everybody throughout the board, supporters, everybody's looking forward to it. We're expecting a big crowd and a difficult game, but you don't get bigger than Linfield, so we do go on and confident, but we've no wonder, no illusions how difficult the task when they be. They're the league champions and they're in good form themselves, and they always do well in the Irish Cup, so they'll be taking it very seriously, I'm sure, and that's not a real difficult task for everybody.
Well, there's a further 7 games tomorrow, including amateur league side Drummond Mills travelling to the Oval to face 23-time winners Glentoran. There are all Premiership ties between Carrick and Coleraine, Cliftonville, Glenavon, Portadown and Dungannon Swifts. Well, meanwhile, the new League of Ireland season kicks off this evening. Derry City finished as runners-up in the Premier Division last season and begin their campaign at home to Sligo Rovers, with the Brandywell set for a sellout for James McLean's homecoming.
I'd love to sit here and say we're going to win the league, but you can't predict them things. But that's certainly what the aim is. The aim is to go and try and win the league, and we'll do everything within our power to do that. And hopefully come November, like the lad said, hopefully we're standing on the Gael stage with the trophy.
Well, in Gaelic games, Aquinas Grammar won the McLaren Cup for the first time last night as they defeated St Eunan's at the Dub. Meanwhile, on Sunday, the McCrory Cup final takes place at the Athletic Grounds in Armagh. St Patrick's Academy taking on Abbey TBS.
It's a big day for the school, I suppose. 20 years since Abbey's been here, and it's a really good buzz around the school, and there's been a lot of heartbreak and that around the school, and it's just would be great to give back to them.
There's a massive crowd and a lot of noise, but it's nice to get used to that and just sort of absorb it. It's been a bit of a drought. They're referring to it as in the Academy of the McCrory Cup for such a prestigious footballing school. So it would be a big privilege, but mainly for the team, not just myself.
Well, it's top versus bottom in the Elite Ice Hockey League tomorrow night when the Belfast Giants host the Fife Flyers at the SSE Arena. The Giants then travel to Coventry to face the Blaze on Sunday. Finally, Michael Conlon will return to boxing action on Friday the 20th of March at the SSE Arena when he faces unbeaten American Kevin Walsh. That's all your sport this evening. Have a great weekend.
Ready for the road. John Mulholland Motors proudly sponsors UTV Sports Updates.
Now, a Brishean man is celebrating an incredible 70 years in business this weekend.
Yes, that's right. James McNeil, who is now 88 years old, is still working and has no plans to retire just yet. Nathan Hanna has been to meet him.
Well, how are we today? Keeping rightly?
Keeping not so bad.
Good.
Customer service comes naturally to James. After all, he has been doing it for 70 years. And if the 88-year-old isn't serving customers at the till, he's off to find exactly what they need. James has been in business since 1956, but his working life started at just 14, selling tea and sugar from a grocery van. He's now owned his business for 70 years and has 2 stores, a hardware and a grocery shop, right in the heart of Brishean.
So how often are you here then in stores working with customers, James?
In the morning time, 6 days a week from 7:30 to 9 in the morning, and then Monday and Thursday I'm doing my own sign up at home. I enjoy every minute of it, that's what I do. Although with my age I have no intentions yet of retiring. A lot of people ask me whether they want rid of me or what, I don't know, but I would be asked very often what age are you, whether you're retiring. So I just have the same answer for them all.
And it's fair to say James is a bit of a celeb around these parts.
70 years going strong, yeah.
Oh, I sure.
You can be there for another 30, yeah.
Keeps him going, and also gets him out of my road sometimes in the house. But he loves the shop, he loves meeting people, and it's always the same. We went on some holidays, but not too many. Never too far away from the shop.
And with loyal staff comes loyal customers.
Tell me, how long have you been working for James?
22 years.
31.
27.
So you can't find it in James McNeil, you'll not find it anywhere.
It's a real family affair, with his 2 sons running each store for him.
The 70 years is amazing, but we're really proud because at the end of the day, he's still our wee daddy. And that's what makes us proud of him. We're proud each and every day, not just the 70 years.
He's an inspiration to us. I wish I had half his energy.
A lifetime of service to his community and showing no signs of slowing down, James has one piece of advice for everyone.
Get up in the morning and get on with your work. That's what it is.
Nathan Hanna, UTV Live.
Wise words there.
Indeed. Bit of a local legend, quite rightly so.
He is.
Time to check on another local legend now. UTV Live is back at 7 o'clock.
Here's Pamela with all what's on the show.
Yes, on UTV Live tonight at 7, the wait is almost over for Lisa McGee's new Netflix series, How to Get the Heaven from Belfast. We'll be finding out what to expect from the lady herself and the 3 main stars. Now, the cast and crew of the new production of Rossini's opera, The Barber of Seville, will be here and will be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Lyric Theatre. That's coming up on UTV Live at 7.
Well, we heard all about the miserable weather earlier in the programme.
Yeah, didn't we indeed? Come on, Aisling, give us some good news.
After a cold start, temperatures are expected to rise. UTV weather, sponsored by the Grand Irona R290 heat pump.
Hello there, a very good evening to everyone at home. Well, it continues to be quite wet out there. A weather warning in place for some very heavy rainfall. But as we head through the next few hours, that rainfall will start to ease off, and into the weekend there is something just a little bit drier just around the corner. As we head through the rest of today, however, it's cloudy. Showery outbreaks of rain continue overnight. By tomorrow morning, it's frost-free. It's still breezy, however, so a chilly, damp start first thing on Saturday morning. A lot of low cloud around, and there'll still be an awful lot of surface water spray out and about on the roads as well. But remaining damp through Saturday morning, however, slowly but surely through Saturday, that rain starts to clear away. So something drier on the way into the afternoon, perhaps even a glimmer of two of brightness breaking through. Now you'll notice as well it's not quite as windy tomorrow afternoon, so it will feel a little more comfortable if you are out and about. Maximum temperatures of around 8 degrees Celsius, so a good 3 or 4 degrees above what we have today. And across the rest of Ireland, there's a good deal of dry weather around here as well. However, a very weak weather front still lingering just across southeastern parts of Ireland. Maximum temperatures though of around 9 or 10 degrees Celsius, so just a touch above average for the time of year. But let's just take a look at the bigger picture to see what's happening as we head into Sunday. Low pressure has been very much in charge of the weather over the last few days, but have a look at this low pressure here. It slowly but surely disappears as we head into Sunday, and that means on Sunday we are likely to see some sunshine around. However, a misty, foggy start to the day, but eventually some sunshine breaking through. For the most part, it looks dry as well, with maximum temperatures of 8 degrees. Have a great weekend.
UTV weather, sponsored by the Grant Arona R290 heat pump.
Thanks, Ashley. Now, don't forget to scan the QR code. I'm going to get it right this time. It's on your screen now to get our exclusive UTV newsletter every Saturday morning.
Paul will be back with the late news at 10:40. The ITV evening news continues with Charlene. But from Paul, from me and all of us on the team, thank you for watching and have a very good evening.
See you later. Bye-bye.